Hello and welcome to the video for section 1.7, which is midpoint and distance in the coordinate plane. So the midpoint formula on a number line is pretty simple. If you're trying to find the midpoint of line AB, you would just take the A plus the B and divide it by 2, and that would be your midpoint. Just figure out how many spots away they are from each other on the number line, and then just divide that by 2. That's the midpoint. There's a little more to it when you get to the coordinate plane. So the midpoint formula on a coordinate plane, given that AB, where A is x1, y1, and B is x2, y2, so just the 2 points on the plane, the coordinates of the midpoint of AB are, we'll call it M. You take x1 plus x2 and you divide it by 2. And then for y, you take y1 plus y2 and divide that by 2. And that will be your midpoint. So I'll do an example here with you. EF, and let me go ahead and label this quick. So E was this one. E is this point. And F is this one. So EF has endpoints of 7, 5, and 2, -4. What are the coordinates of its midpoint, M? So, using the formula right here, we will take x1 plus x2. So, I'm using F for my x1. So we're going to take 2, the first x, plus the 7x. 7, which is the second x, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So 2 plus 7 is 9. Divided by 2 is 4.5. So that will be my x for my midpoint. And then for the y's, again, I'm going to start with the F. So the y point, the y spot is right here at -4. So -4 plus 5, all I'm doing is taking these two numbers, the y's, and divide it by 2. -4 plus 5 is 1, divided by 2 would be 0.5. So the midpoint of this line right here would be 4.5 and 0.5. So that would be your equals M, your midpoint. And if you wanted to graph that, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and then 0.5. It's really hard to do with my finger, but it's right in there. It would be the middle of the line. So, a little different version of it, but using the same formula. The midpoint of AB has coordinates of 4, -9. So now they're giving you the midpoint. They're giving you the answer. And they're saying that endpoint A has coordinates of -3, -5, so you have that one. And then it says, what are the coordinates of B? So you got to figure out what the other point is on this one. So you're going to say that, since we know the midpoint, we're going to say that 4, -9 equals -3 plus whatever my x2 is, divided by 2, and -5 plus whatever my y2 is, divided by 2. And so if I just go through and solve this, so we're just going to use the x part of it, so we'll go 4 equals -3 plus x2 divided by 2. And so then to get the 2 out of the bottom there, I have to multiply by 2. Multiply both sides by 2. So that would be 8 equals -3 plus whatever my x2 is. And so to get rid of my -3, I'm going to go plus 3 plus 3. So 11 is my x2 then. I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. So I'll do -9 equals -5 plus whatever my y2 is. It's not supposed to be squared, it's a y2. Divided by 2. Again, Order of operations, get that out of the bottom, take it times -2. I have -18 equals -5 plus my y2. I'm going to add 5 to get rid of it. Add 5. -13 equals my y2. So my answer for what are the coordinates of B would be 11, -13. Those are the coordinates for B. That's a little different version of using the same formula, but using it in a little different way. So then we also have distance to cover. The distance between 2 points, A, which would be x1, y1, and B, which would be x2, y2. So the formula I had to write out here because I couldn't figure out how to format it correctly, but D equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So you're going to do what's in parentheses first and then square it. So it says, what is the distance between U, which is at -7, 5, and V, which is at 4, -3? And we're going to round it to the nearest tenth. And so we're going to say that U is my x1, y1, and V is the x2, y2. Close that so it doesn't pop up anymore. So using my formula, B equals the square root, and my formula is right here, so I'm going to be just following along with what it says here. So my x2 would be my second, would be the V, so it would be 4, and my x1 would be this one, so it would be minus a -7 because there's already a subtract in the formula right here, and then we're going to square that, and then we'll add y2, which is this one, minus my first one, which is 5, and we're going to square that. So 4 minus a -7 becomes plus a plus, so 4 plus 7 is 11, and then I need to square it. And -3 minus 5 would be plus a negative, so it would be -8 squared. So I have 121 when I square 11, and I have 64 when I square -8. Add those two together, gives you 185. But don't forget, this is all under square root symbols. This whole thing all the way down should be square root. So what is the square root of 185? To the nearest tenth, it is 13.6. So that would be the distance then between U and V. And don't be worried about this. We're going to cover it more the next time I see you. Just bring this knowledge with you tomorrow, and we'll talk about it more. Have a good night. Good night.